You ever wonder why so many people work their tails off their entire lives but just can't seem to get ahead? You know that feeling, right? It's like you're on a treadmill, just running and running, but not actually going anywhere. Well, what if the answer isn't what we think it is? Today, we're going to dig into a really old perspective that might just have the answer we're looking for.
So the source we're looking at today has a pretty wild answer to that question. It basically says that building real, lasting wealth, it has nothing to do with your paycheck. It's all about what you do with your wallet.
And that's really the heart of it. The problem isn't how much you earn, it's how much you spend. And look, the source is clear. This isn't some new age financial hack. Nope, this is wisdom that's been passed down for literally thousands of years.
And this quote from the source's grandfather, man, it is perfectly sums up this whole idea. The world teaches you how to make money, sure, but keeping it, that's a whole different ballgame. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're breaking down the 5 core rules of spending that come from this ancient wisdom.
All right, so let's dive into this framework. The first 4 rules are super practical, super direct, and honestly, they're going to challenge a lot of our modern habits. The very first one, well, it gets right to the core of why we spend money in the first place. So the absolute first thing this wisdom says you should never buy, it's something that, for a lot of us, has become totally second nature.
Yep, we're talking about status symbols meant to impress strangers. You know, the fancy car, the designer watch, the brand new phone, anything you buy just for that quick hit of status in front of people who, let's be real, don't actually care. And this idea, it's tied to a really old concept.
This concept is called tasnud, and it's all about being authentic. The source tells this great story about when he was a young guy and wanted this super expensive watch. And his grandfather just looked at him and asked a simple question. Who is this watch for? And that's when it hit him. It wasn't for himself. It was for other people. People who'd see it, maybe say nice watch, and then forget about it 5 minutes later. Meanwhile, he'd be stuck paying for it for months. Oof. It's a tough lesson, but so important, right? It's about taking back your energy for what actually matters.
Okay, so building on that idea of authentic spending, rule number 2 gets a little more into the nuts and bolts of finance, but it's just as important. It's about a trap that so many of us fall into, a lot of the time without even knowing it.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. We try to justify a big purchase by calling it an investment, when really its value starts tanking the second we walk out the door with it. The source has a really smart way of looking at this.
So check this out. It's a really simple but powerful idea. Every single thing you buy either feeds you or it eats you. Things that feed you, they grow in value or they make you money. Things that eat you, well, they just cost you money and lose value over time. Just look at the examples here. And the test couldn't be simpler. Just ask yourself, in 5 years, will this be worth more or will it be worth less? If the answer is less, it is not an investment. It's an expense, period.
All right, rule number 3. This one tackles the silent killer of pretty much everyone's budget. We're talking about those little, tiny expenses that seem like no big deal, but they add up like crazy and keep you stuck on that financial treadmill.
I mean, think about it. All those subscriptions, right? The streaming services, that gym membership you swear you're going to use, the monthly subscription boxes. On their own, they're just a few bucks, but add them all up, it's a huge drain. The source has this amazing analogy for this.
I mean, this just paints the perfect picture, doesn't it? It doesn't matter how much water you pour into a leaky bucket, it's never going to get full. And the solution here is, well, it's pretty radical, but it's also simple. Before you add any new recurring bill, first, you have to build a new stream of recurring income that pays for it. That way, you're not poking new holes in the bucket. You're just adding more water, and your wealth can finally start to build up.
Okay, rule number 4. This one is all about clarity. I mean, we live in a world that's just full of complicated financial products and get-rich-quick schemes, right? This rule is basically your defense against all of that.
And this is a hard and fast rule. No exceptions. I don't care if your buddy is making a fortune on it or if you saw some influencer hyping it up. If you don't get it, you don't buy it. Full stop.
This is such a great rule of thumb, isn't it? If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. And clarity is everything when it comes to making smart decisions with your money. The source also gives a great warning. When you see everyone rushing to buy something, guess what? The real money has probably already been made. Now you're just the one left holding the bag.
All right, now we're at the final rule. And according to the source, this is the big one. It's the most powerful, it ties everything else together, and honestly, it's the one that might make you scratch your head a little bit.
And this question just sets the stage perfectly. See, it points to a very specific kind of problem. The kind where our first instinct is to just throw money at it to make it go away. But what if that actually makes things worse?
And that brings us to the fifth and final rule. This one isn't about some thing you can buy or some financial product. It's about a kind of problem that every single one of us has to deal with.
And this one is deep. Think about it. You're feeling bored or unfulfilled, so what do? You buy a new car. You feel lonely, so you book a crazy expensive trip. This rule is all about knowing the difference between what your body needs and what your soul needs.
And this right here makes that distinction so clear. Look, money is an amazing tool for taking care of your body. Food, shelter, safety, all that stuff. But when you try to use money to buy things that you can only earn, things like a sense of purpose or a real connection with someone, well, you end up creating what the source calls a bottomless pit. You can throw all the money in the world down there and it'll never be full. Because those things, you have to build them yourself from the inside out.
Okay, so we've gone through these 5 really powerful rules. What's the big takeaway here? How do we wrap this all up into a single philosophy that we can actually use? So here they are, all 5 of them laid out. And when you see them all together like this, you realize this isn't just a random list of tips, is it? It's a whole framework. It's a system for completely changing how you think and interact with money. It's about shifting away from spending just to feel good for a second and moving towards spending with real intention to actually build a real future.
And really, that's the question this whole thing leaves you with, isn't it? It forces you to look at every single purchase and ask yourself, is this purchase building my future, or is it just funding my image? Is this a brick in the foundation I'm trying to build, or is it just for show? And seriously, the answer to that one question, that could change everything for you.